Healing Streams podcast family, welcome back to our YouTube channel. If this is your very first time, welcome. This is Healing Streams podcast where we talk about faith, healing, discovery, identity, hope, and love. My name is Akimbode Victoria Aduragbemi. As you know, that Ayomide is always here with me through thick and thin, but we have a special guest today. Um, let me just say a little about her. We met in OAU, and she's been awesome. And when I saw our project defense talking about what we're about to talk about, it just made me feel that this is somebody that is very passionate about this topic. And her name is Bolarinwa Oluwasemilore. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, just a little for our viewers to know.
All right. My name is Oluwasemilore Marvelous Bolariwa. I'm a fresh graduate of OAU. And firstly, I want to say that I'm very honored to be here. I appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much, Ma. God bless you. So, like I said,
Amen. You're welcome.
My name is Shemlere Bolariwa. I'm a mental health advocate, and I've been in mental health advocacy for 3 to 4 years now. And this is something that has given me so much joy and life. And one thing that actually makes me to keep pushing, to keep doing this, is because I believe that mental health is a core. It's a core of our life, it's a core of our well-being, and nobody should be ignorant about it. So this is why I keep raising my voice to ensure that the right information, the right conversations is channeled, right, to help people get to understand about this topic, and as well help people to realize and harness their full potentials. My passion for this change is what has helped me to keep pushing, to keep pulling myself, to keep developing, and this is why I'm here today. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Today we'll be talking about mental health. Yes, because either we like it, it's a topic that I think we are just realizing that mental health is very important in Nigeria. We are just realizing that mental health is what people go through. I was speaking with somebody few days ago, and I was like, oh, it's now I realized that, like, I was talking about armed robbery attack and the aftermath, and I was saying that, oh, it's now I'm just realizing that what happened to the person was post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we didn't realize all of these things. We feel that ad guy, why would you have any mental health problem and all of these things? But the fact is that these things happen. We understand that we are believers. We understand that we are Christians. You shouldn't be depressed because the joy of the Lord is your strength. But in situations where we cannot undo those things and we need to talk about it, we need to tell somebody. And the reason why people end up falling into all those things is because we have made people feel that you shouldn't talk about it, you shouldn't express yourself, you shouldn't, why would you say that you have mental health issue, why would you say that you have this, you have that, and all of those things are the things that are causing problems in the society. And that is why we are going to be talking about mental health today, basically identifying the causes of mental health. A lot of things causes mental health, a lot of things. If the funny thing is that even things that we don't know that is a cause is actually a cause. Maybe because I'm somebody that watch a lot of, especially all these movies that are educative majorly on mental health, because I'm also a mental health advocate, right? So all of these things, and I watch it and I'm like, oh, so this thing is actually happening. And when I see somebody go through that, I'm like, oh, this thing really happened. So that is why we are talking about it today. So we'll start discussing all of this causes one after the other, because we know that there is somebody out there, there are some people out there that need to know about these things. And if you have somebody who has some of these symptoms around you, you are able to know what to do and how to handle those situations. What are the causes of mental health?
Okay. There are a number of factors that actually causes mental health disorder. I believe that's what you're asking. But before I talk about those causes, I'd like to first give a background. Like you said, this topic is a topic that we don't really talk about. We are just beginning to have conversations around it, especially in this part of the world. So for us to understand, right, I would like to give a background, and I want to even say that I'm very excited that a faith-based ministry like this is having this kind of conversations. And when you told me about this, it gave me so much joy, because it just proves how much God is interested in the well-being of his people. Because this issue that we're talking about is one tool that has been against fulfilling a lot of people's dream, harnessing their potentials. Like, it's been a tool that has been used against people. You just hear that somebody died by suicide, and they say it's depression, and you're like, and people just start saying different things. But having this kind of conversation, I believe it's us playing our part in contributing, helping our world change. So these mental health disorders that we're talking about, it's actually more common than we realize, and it can affect anybody regardless of the age, the gender, the relationship. So when we understand the causes and the signs and symptoms, it can help us recognize when we or when somebody around us needs support. And that's why I'm very excited that we're having this topic. To show how much this thing is important, I'd like to give a statistics of mental health issues in Africa, right? Since we are in Africa. So depression and anxiety, WHO in 2016 actually said that 66 million people in Africa suffer from depression. Anxiety disorder also affects a significant portion. We can see that this is actually affecting a large number. So this is why we need to actually start making changes. So now, what exactly is mental health? I believe that's like the basis where we can start from before we now even start talking about the causes. What is mental health? Mental health, in simple terms, refers to how a person feels, think, and act. How you feel about yourself, the thinking, your thought pattern, and your actions, right? To give a more deep understanding, right, I like to refer to WHO's definition, where it says that mental health is, when people think about mental health, most times the first thing that comes to their mind is maybe depression, maybe anxiety, maybe illness, maybe some even just like mental health, the person is mad. No, but it's actually something that centers around an individual's well-being, right? It's not, mental health is not just the absence of mental health disorders or mental health illness. It's a state of well-being where an individual can primarily do four things. Number one is that the person can realize their full potentials, the person can contribute positively to their environment, the person can work productively, and the person can realize their full potential. The person can cope with normal stresses of life. Yes, that's the one I forgot. The person can cope with normal stresses of life. The person can work productively and contribute positively to their environment. So like I said, that mental health is like the general well-being. So when we now come to talk about mental health disorders, right, that's when we can now like refer to specific conditions, right, that can the specific conditions that can probably put your mental health at risk. Conditions such as depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia, and the like. So now, what are the causes of mental health disorder? I actually divided it into four categories, because it's not just the things that happen to us. There are a number of factors that causes these things. So we have the biological factors, we have the environmental factors, we have psychological factors, and we have life events, right? So when we talk about biological factors, that's when we see things like family history, also genetic composition, maybe like an imbalance, right? A genetic, a biochemical imbalance. All of these things actually play a role in putting a person at a risk of a mental health disorder. Now we have environmental factors. This actually is very sad, because majority of these things is where you hear that people are victims of circumstances, right? Environmental factors, we have things such as adverse childhood effects, somebody that was abused as a child, right? Somebody that was neglected as a child, somebody that was exposed to violence, right? Somebody that was exposed to things that are unpleasant, like the example that she cited earlier, robbery. Like, you didn't put yourself in that situation, but that alone can actually cause you to suffer mental health disorders. It can put you at risk of anxiety, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a number of factors. Even as basic as socioeconomic status is a cause, right? Because it wants to give and put a question on how you can like work productively, and how you can realize your potentials, right? That's why I said that it's not even just about illness, right? There's a lot of it. Now the next factor is psychological factor, where we have things like stress, the high level of stress, maybe from work, from relationships, from things that you're engaged in, right? There is the stress of, okay, you need to rest, right? But there is a stronger one that actually is considered a mental health issue, right? High level of stress. Then we have social exclusion, we have substance abuse. Now, and the last category of things that could cause mental health disorders, we have life events, maybe a major change in your life. For example, maybe you lose your work. It may be difficult for you to cope with it, right? For some people, like, we have tenacity that differs, right? There's something called mental health spectrum, and it actually refers to a range of how people feel. Mental health is not a binary system of you are good and you are not good. It's a spectrum, how that people can be on varying levels. Some people can be very healthy, some people can be reacting to situations, some people can be injured before we now even have illness, right? Which is the mental health disorders that we're actually referring to, right? So things like this, people react to things differently. Some people, the same thing can happen to them, they react to it and they bounce back. Some people don't stop at that level of reaction. They move to being injured. It causes a damage, right? And they are able to bounce back. But in a situation whereby the person is unable to bounce back, it now leads to mental illness. So we actually see that this thing is even a stage. It's in stages, right? It does not just happen, right? You don't just wake up and you notice that, like, you are having depression. Nah, it doesn't work like that. So we have major life changes like loss. Maybe you lose a loved one, right? There are people that few weeks they cry, they take up things and they are able to come over it. But there are a lot of people that live with the trauma for the rest of their life, right? And it's sad. So things like this, maybe as even basic as losing your job, divorce, all of those things, they are life events, major life changes that could actually put people at risk of mental health challenges. Okay, let me stop there.
Wow, thank you so much. You just lectured us right now, because we might feel that even the tiniest things that we feel that it's actually not necessary. Like, something happened um at the beginning of the year, and somebody was telling me that, is it not this small thing? It's nothing big. And I'm like, it's nothing big to you as a person. Okay, so is that I had an accident, a car accident, a brake failure accident. And someone was telling me that at work that, oh, it's not really big. And I'm like, this thing is giving me like, it's giving me I'm agitated. I'm scared to go back on the wheel to drive. I'm scared that, okay, what if I go on the wheel and the same thing just happens again. Like, we have to learn that we should not in any way just make everybody's feelings look unnecessary, unimportant. Loss is something very, 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 either it's loss of a loved one, loss of property. You know how it's, you don't want to know how it feels for things that you have worked for years, for for years. You've spent money, you've spent your sweat, your resources, everything, and one day you just heard that they all crumbled in a day. That's why I am not jealous of Job. I don't like that kind of temptation. No, God, don't test me, don't tell me that you love me. It's not that kind of love I'm looking for, because let's, if we really really want to go, it is all of those things that he was saying in the scriptures. It is out of the fact that he became a bitter man, because those are one of the symptoms that somebody is suffering from mental health, because he lost everything in a day. His children, 10 children, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and they're not small, they are old. 10 children in a day. He lost his properties, everything he has worked for years. He lost everything in a day. In a day. Can we just think about? And that was why he was saying that it would have been better for him not to be born at all, for him to, like, for somebody to regret that he's alive. It shows symptoms. It shows that all of these things, losses, everything, people that there was a time we were talking about childhood trauma, and we mentioned some things. Please, if you have not watched it, please go back and watch it, because all of those things are the things that will lead to mental health disorder. All of these things, the causes, loss can cause it. Neglect, violence, accidents. Like I mentioned, my car accidents can cause it, and it will even make it worse if such persons even lost their family member. And Lord, all of those things are very sensitive. For some of us, we might dust it off and say they're fine, but no, it's not like that for everybody. Some people, it takes some people years, and it's even worse if the person is not expressive. If the person is not expressive, you don't even know where to pick it from. You don't know the area, the corner, the angle you should come from. And all of these things, they cause mental health disorder. That is why we have, apart from autism, that is nobody's fault. It is not caused by anybody. Autism, some parents feel that it's because they were not eating well, they were not doing the no, it's not because of anything. It's not because maybe you fell down while being pregnant. No, it's not, because apart from that, but most of all of these things is caused by traumatic events, traumatic incidents. If we actually look at all of these, because all of them, they all deal with emotions, they all deal with memories. Either they are obviously, there's no memory that is not painful for you. It's a painful memory for you to fall into depression, for you to have anxiety disorder, for you to have all of these things. It's because your emotions have been attached. And there's this one, multiple personality disorder, where you are there's a switching in moods, in character. Like you are all bubbling today, and tomorrow you're like, or in the next few minutes you're like, and they'll be like, what's going on? Bipolar disorder, all of those things, they are those all of these causes that Shemilore has mentioned. Because if I should tell you that I should start mentioning from my end, will not live here. So all of these things are things that are causing it. So that we won't spend too much time. I don't know if Shemilore has any other causes of mental health disorder, so that we'll close on this video.
Well, I actually already gave the summary of everything right earlier, but maybe I should just take a few case studies. You were saying how that majority of these things are caused by something. So what to expect? Maybe if something like this happens. For example, I have a personal experience of post-traumatic stress disorder, right? How that sometime in 2020 we were robbed and it was like my room that they first, open and where's your dad? That kind of experience. I saw them break my parents' door right in front of me. I had no idea what they were going to do, and I tell you that for a very long time it disturbed my sleep. Let me not hear a sound in the middle of the night. I'm awake and I'm not gonna sleep again. Right, so these things, right, maybe like, I want to like give case studies, right? Okay, maybe something like this happens to somebody. What are the possible things that the person can experience? I spoke about childhood adversity earlier, right? And somebody that went through that kind of thing, right? The person, somebody that went through child sexual abuse, for example, the person can grow up to be experiencing things like anxiety, panic disorder, depression, right? I mean, I know of a case, right? This lady, she was abused, right, as a child, and as she grew up, she found it very, very, very difficult to stay where men are, right? It gives her so much fear. She could be in a bus, right? Maybe it happens that she's the only female inside the bus. The next thing she start thinking of is escape route, right? Whose head do I break to get out? The next thing she starts thinking of is that what if any of these men tries to attack me? Anxiety, constantly living in fear because of something that she did not have control over. So somebody that has child that experienced childhood abuse might have mental health outcomes such as anxiety, right? Neglect, for example, a child that was neglected, right, as a child can have the person having attachment disorders, right? You just see the person, you just kind of feel it that there's a root cause to things like this, right? And then I even already even gave a personal example of the robbery, how it caused post-traumatic syndrome for me. Somebody that is going through a very high level of stress at work, it would probably affect the person's productivity, right? And like I said in the definition of mental health earlier, that it is not just the presence and absence of mental health illness. It's when a person can work productively, realize their full potential. So somebody that is under constant pressure, under stress, there are a lot of people that they can handle it, but there are some people that it begins to affect their productivity, things like that, right? They are the case studies. They are the things that, okay, these causes of mental health is not like one cause, right, would cause a challenge while another cause causes something else, and we have cases whereby a single thing causes several things, right? Maybe abuse, it could cause the person to have depression, same person anxiety, same person panic disorder, right? And so on and so forth. Let me stop there.
Thank you so much. That attachment thing, it, and somebody like that, they are always afraid of people leaving them. There's this fear that comes in that, oh, please, they don't care if the person is hurting them. They don't care. All they just want is, because they couldn't get the love that they needed at that moment. So either the person is the worst person in this, as long as the person is staying with them, they can enjoy it. They can endure they can do anything to make the person stay with them. Anything for the person to stay with them, and all of those things. Sexual abuse, sometimes the person not only being scared of men being around such person might go into prostitution. The person does not need the money. The person does not need the money, but because it has triggered something in such person, so the person just keeps doing it. Is not to justify prostitution, but it is just some of these things happen. Or the person might not even go into prostitution, but sleeps with any man that he or she sees, not for money. The person might even pay the guys that she's sleeping with, but things like that happen. And this is just to inform us. This is just to inform us, for us to know that these things happen. If you notice any of these things, when some things happen, I remember listening to a pastor. Their son is autistic, right? And he said it in his sermon. He said, it's been a lot for them taking care of their son. Not that they don't find it it's not that there's no money to take care of him, but you know, when you're trying everything you can to take care of him and you're not seeing any improvement, so they all had to, both of them had to go for therapy, because it was taking a toll on their emotions. It was taking it because you know, when you're saying that I'm praying for somebody, other people's children are getting fine, and your own son, like, you've been praying and trusting God that this thing will change, and that is to say that, please, ejo, be cool. Let us be careful of the things we say to people. Kai! Especially we Africans. I'll say it in Yoruba, abaje ọ̀rọ̀ sísọ. Lord, the way some of us talk, or the way some of us look down on people's situations, people's pains, and which we have gone through it before, is nothing big. Wow. Because you can handle it does not mean another person can handle it. And that's mentality. Oh, my mother went through it and she did okay. Does not mean that I am your mother. Does not mean that you are my mother. You went through somebody went through it and came out strong. Does not mean that that person must go through that same thing also. Some people, it takes time for them to heal. It takes time for them to heal. Losing my mom, the healing process was fast. But for some, I can't say that because the healing process for me was fast does not mean that for someone else is going to be fast, because the relationship is different. I can't say that the way I was close with my mom is the same way you were close with your mom. You understand, things like that. So let's be careful of the things we say, because whatever you say to people can because words too is also a cause. Is a cause. Is a cause, because it's not only traumatic situations that maybe when you're saying that somebody is worthless, the person cannot amount to anything, the person is a nobody, the person can never achieve anything in life. You have killed the person. You have finished the person. Please, let's be very careful of the things we say to people, because it can lead to all of these things that we have mentioned, and it can ruin the person. And at the same time, your words can also take that person out of that situation. So the Bible says that let your words be seasoned with grace. You're a child of grace. Let every word that come out of your mouth be life. Don't let it be death. Let it be life. So that, let's say somebody is about to commit suicide, and just one word that you say just brings the person out of that situation. So let's be careful of the things we say. Thank you for watching today's video. Please do well to like this video. Toss that button, that thumbs up, please. Let there be a thumbs up. Share this video. There's somebody that needs to watch this video. There is somebody that needs to be enlightened through this video. And please subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We have a lightning, impactful content on all of those platforms. And please listen to all our audio podcasts. You will learn a lot. You will learn a lot from our audio podcast, and you won't just learn it, you will be blessed. Know that there is nothing we are talking about that won't have impact in your life. Thank you so much. Bye.